it's a beacon to the rest of the world. And not just for our system of government, but for how it makes people feel inside.
What do you love about America?
I just love the country and the people.
I love America because I'm free.
Tell me what you love about America.
Everything.
The founders didn't write the Constitution and the Bill of Rights with all this bravado and confidence. They wrote those documents in fear. They had come, or their families had, from places where people they knew were hung for speaking up for their rights.
Reading the Constitution, there were moments where I really felt the presence of, the fragility and the beauty that was in that original dream of this country being founded in this way, and that incredible hope that went into those documents, and I almost felt around me the protection that those documents give me and my children, very personally. And then I felt them threatened.
But tonight we want to pause for a minute. We'll invite guests on later in the hour. First, though, it's worth considering what we've learned from the debate over Brett Kavanaugh's nomination to the Supreme Court. This feels like a turning point, something entirely new in the life of this country. Never in our lifetimes have sitting members of Congress attacked our justice system as they now are. Lawmakers haven't mocked the idea of due process, or called for the collective punishment of American citizens, or declared that the burden of proof is on the accused rather than the accuser. All of that is happening right now in Washington, and more. It's not just Brett Kavanaugh who's under assault. Elected officials have announced they no longer believe in our Western understanding of justice. There's no precedent for that here. It's stunning. You should pay close attention to what's happening, because it could affect all of us. The shift began late last week with these remarks from Hawaii Senator Mazie Hirono. Watch.
I just want to say to the men of this country, just shut up and step up. Do the right thing for a change. Not only do women like Dr. Ford, who bravely comes forward, need to be heard, but they need to be believed.
So there you have it. All men are guilty, not because they've been proved guilty, but because they are men. They are inherently guilty by their nature. All women must be believed, not because we can show they're telling the truth, but because they are female. Evidence is irrelevant in both cases. All that matters is DNA. All of us are condemned or redeemed at birth, and there is nothing any of us can do to change that. It's baked in the cake. That's what she said. No living U.S. senator has ever said anything like that in public. Yet none of Hirono's Democratic colleagues recoiled or even scolded her or suggested she was wrong. They seemed to agree with what she said. Hirono herself did not issue an apology or a clarification. She kept going. Here she is from over the weekend.
Doesn't Kavanaugh have the same presumption of innocence as anyone else in America?
I put his denial in the context of everything that I know about him in terms of how he approaches his cases.
We'll give her credit for directness. According to Senator Hirono, Brett Kavanaugh is not protected by the United States Constitution. He does not enjoy the presumption of innocence. Kavanaugh is guilty because his opponents say he is guilty. That is Senator Hirono's position. She is proud of it. She's become a folk hero on the left for saying that. Watch her say it again from earlier today.
Can you clarify what you meant? Do you believe Judge Kavanaugh does deserve a presumption of innocence or not?
Look, we're not in a court of law. We're actually in a court of credibility at this point. And without having the FBI report or some semblance of trying to get corroboration, we are left with the credibility of the two witnesses.
Oh, a court of credibility. Now, Senator Hirono didn't explain exactly what a court of credibility is, though you can be sure you wouldn't ever want to be tried in one, though at this rate, sorry, you may be. If the Bill of Rights doesn't apply to Brett Kavanaugh, it probably doesn't apply to you either. It all depends on what Mazie Hirono thinks of your political views. If she agrees with you, you'll be fine. If not, you won't be fine. Keep in mind that once you've been accused in this new court of credibility, you're responsible for proving yourself innocent. It's your job to unconvict yourself. If that sounds like a mirror image of our actual justice system, you're right. It is. For more than 1,000 years, the burden of proof in the West has fallen on the accuser. In our country, that would be the government. If they say you did it, they have to prove that you did it. But not anymore. Here's Senator Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut from this morning explaining how the new system works.
We have a constitutional duty to get to the bottom of these allegations. They are serious. And credible. And now the person with the most knowledge about them, namely Judge Brett Kavanaugh, has a responsibility to come forward with evidence to rebut them.
Got that? We accuse you of a felony. Your job is to show you're innocent. You're a sex criminal. Prove you're not. Senator Blumenthal went to Yale Law School. Did he learn that concept in his classes there? Probably not. It's a new idea, but it's also a very old idea. It was common during the medieval period where the accused also had a, quote, responsibility to come forward with evidence to rebut the charges against them. Heretics who survived torture sometimes got declared innocent. Hooray! But there's a flip side to the new system. Because the accused are guilty by definition, the accusers suddenly have no responsibility to make credible claims. And we're seeing that principle in action, too. We covered the story all last week. 5 nights in a row, we said that we are giving Christine Ford every benefit of every doubt. And we did that. But let's be honest now. Not many of her claims would hold up in an actual court, the one governed by the justice system we thought we had until about 10 days ago when Mazie Hirono informed us otherwise. When did this alleged assault take place? Ford can't say. When did it happen? She doesn't know. Where are the witnesses to this? Well, there aren't any. The few people Ford has named deny it happened. When was this first reported to authorities? Well, it never really was. The story came out in stages. It was a recovered memory, apparently summoned by a psychotherapist 30 years after the fact. And even then, it was another 6 years before Ford named Brett Kavanaugh specifically, at exactly the point he was being nominated for the Supreme Court. That's not our analysis of the case. It's the position of Ford's lawyer, nearly all of whom double as Democratic Party activists and operatives, and some of whom defended Bill Clinton from far graver sexual assault claims when he was accused.
Says that she doesn't even remember ever being at a party where Kavanaugh was present.
Right, and that actually corroborates Ford's story, which is that she was so horrified by this that she kind of snuck out or slunk out of this apartment in a way that no one would know what happened because she was so utterly mortified.
Are you following this at home? See if you can track the reasoning here. When your corroborating witnesses can't corroborate your story, the one you say they can corroborate, your story has still been corroborated, maybe even more so. Those are the new rules here in the court of credibility. wait, here's the magazine's description of those claims. Quote, in her initial conversations with The New Yorker, the accuser was reluctant to characterize Kavanaugh's role in the alleged incident with certainty. After 6 days of carefully assessing her memories and consulting with her attorney, she felt confident enough of her recollections to say that she remembers Kavanaugh had exposed himself at a drunken dormitory party. So it turns out she didn't actually remember what happened. None of the people she says were in the room remember it happening either. Yet after talking to her lawyer for a week, she suddenly remembers it. That's enough for CNN. Guilty as charged. String him up!